Let the record show, Your Honor. I did not acknowledge.
Never do.
I cannot be held socially responsible.
I never am. Do not acknowledge, do not engage. Can't get in trouble that way.
Hi, I'm Steve, and this is Then You Ruined It, a podcast where me and Jason try to get through just 20 minutes of human interaction without, well, ruining it. Buckle up, folks. It's gonna get bumpy.
So, I'm not terribly close with my neighbors here at the, I guess you could still call it a new house. I don't know, we've been here for a year and a half, so I can't go back to, well, I can go back to the old house, but every time I drive by it, I'm like, oh, it's not my house anymore. Other people live there, and they've put weird bushes out front.
Who do they think they are?
The new owners, so they can do what they want. They're just a weird placement. They put just like some shrubberies like out towards the road, and it just has like no. I'll get into that. That is not the point that I was going to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I know nothing about shrubberies, so I
Bush
should not
net.
be speaking on this.
The podcast
What I do know
of
about,
bushes.
I do know plenty about awkward conversations. So this year, my son is going to the same bus stop as a girl who's actually the sister of someone who's in my daughter's grade. Sometimes we end up walking down there with her, or sometimes she walks back with us. Like the other day, her mom had to work late at the hospital, so she needed somebody to walk her home. So we were happy to do that. So we've kind of, bonded over that. And me and the husband will speak sometimes at the bus stop and just, little chit chat here and there before the kids get there, which is not usually that long. Luckily, the bus is usually on time. So I got to the bus stop, and it was one of those days where, I don't know if you have an app, if you've ever waited for you're on the bus yourself, so you probably don't wait on the bus for your kids. But
I mean, I have waited for buses that brought children. We fortunately live close enough I can just wait in my house.
And luckily, we did it at our previous house, and this one's not bad, but you have to go around a corner to get to the bus stop now, and with my son, being in first grade, my wife would not allow that, so it's like, okay, well then, we walk down there and take him and pick him up every day. That's fine. So we have a tracking app that tells you roughly where the bus is, and this tracking app has been a straight up liar several times. There have been one time where I watched it and it's like, okay, I don't know where that's going, but for some reason that's not our neighborhood, and I guess it'll come to our neighborhood eventually. And watched it and watched it and watched it, and then it stopped working, and I was like, oh, that's not good. Okay, I gotta head to the bus stop. And as I head to the bus stop, I see our bus driving away with my son on the bus. And this is when he was in kindergarten.
Does he not know where he lives yet? Tell him to get off the bus.
Well, this is when he was in kindergarten. They don't allow kindergartners to get off on the bus by themselves. They have to have an adult there to welcome them off the bus.
I mean, while that makes sense, it ends up in a situation where a man can just steal a kid, which is what is happening.
No, it's a bus driver. They're not stealing the kid. They're just taking the kid back with them while the deadbeat dad figures out what's going wrong and gets down there. So I at that time I saw the bus, it turned around in the neighborhood, so I was able to run up and literally stand in the middle of the road and please stop. He knew who I was because he's seen, it was the same bus driver. So I just stopped and said, here, I will take my son off the bus now. And he's just like, oh, sorry about that. And got him home, and, he was shaken up, but he was fine. But that's not what this instance is about. This is a time when the tracking app again failed me, but been there, done that. So I knew I'm going to head to the bus stop because I know something's up. All right. So head down there, or up there, down and then up, and get to the bus stop, and there's no bus. Bus app is still being wonky, and it's off in another neighborhood. And okay, guess I'll wait until I find out what happens. But at least I'm here. That's what is important. So a few minutes pass, and then I get the tandem of information that comes from the school when something goes wrong. I get text, email, and phone call all at the exact same moment. So I check one of them. I listen to the phone call, and it says, your bus is going to be about 15 minutes late today. We're sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, that is my son's bus. Now I wait here for an extra 10 minutes by myself doing nothing. Cool. So I'm happy to do that, and doesn't really matter. About 2 or 3 minutes before the bus is supposed to arrive, the girl I was talking about, her dad, arrives with the car because I think they have to go to swim practice or something. So he comes to pick her up. So he does a U-turn and pulls up right next to the bus stop. And I don't ever really acknowledge that he's there. I sense he's there. I know it's his car. I sense that he's there, and he's pulled up. He's a good 10, 15 feet from me down the way, but he just stayed in his car. He didn't bother getting out. He usually would, get out and like chat or whatever, and did this time. Again, that's fine. No sweat off my sack. And
let the record show, Your Honor, I did not acknowledge.
Never do.
I cannot be held socially responsible.
I never am. That's my whole milieu. Do not acknowledge, do not engage. Can't get in trouble that way. So he sits in his car, and I sit there on my phone, and we're both waiting for something to happen. And like I said, 2 minutes before the bus is supposed to get there, again, sensing, not seeing, but sensing, he slowly, ever so slowly creeps towards me. And I'm like, okay, so now he wants to talk, I guess, before the bus gets here, whatever. Probably just gonna say, oh man, late bus again, huh? So he approaches and rolls down the window and says, hey, you know where the bus is at? And I say, yeah, it's supposed to be here, I think, in 2 or 3 minutes, it looks like. It's, late. They should have sent you a message again by carrier pigeon. Smoke signal. You got everything. And he's like, oh, didn't get that message. Okay, well, yeah, it's they sent a message saying it was 15 minutes late, so it'll be here. So just wait another couple minutes, and oh, okay. Window goes up. Car, even slower, backs back up the hill. Like, better car as person scenario I've never seen. It was just picture perfect, and I was laughing so hard, and I had to laugh really hard once I got home and told my wife about it. But
that's amazing. It's
just like I well done, sir.
This guy should be your best friend. He's you in another body. Does he have a podcast? We should do a crossover.
Not that I know of.
I bet his co-host is awesome.
It's possible. I don't know. The likelihood of a host and co-host both being awesome are very, very slim.
Well, I don't think he's awesome. I think he's like you. But if he's like you, he's got a co-host who's like me and is therefore awesome. We could both have new best friends.
Well, that's what you pull from this. So I really appreciated the just bizarreness of it and just going for it. Like that's, again, that gives you a story to tell somebody. So I just love these awkward. I'm clearly the lead character. I'm the protagonist in this story, and these NPCs, I interact with, and sometimes the interactions are just banal. Well, okay, I talked to that person today. And then you get one like that where it's like, oh, I think the programming broke.
Yeah. So there have been times when, I don't know, I'm trying to think. So the thing that pops in my head was an experience that happened to me today on the train so I get on the very first train, and there's always a couple people on the train before. And if you do the math, if I'm getting on at the first train station and there's already people on the train, those people were on there before. So there are people who are just asleep and taking advantage of the safety that the train provides. So no big deal. Pretty normal. So I'm sitting there in my seat today, and there are two gentlemen that are each taking up one double seat and asleep. And people get on the bus. All the other seats fill up. People get off the train. People get on the train. People get off the train. The wipers on the train go swish, swish, swish. Babies cry. Drivers say move on back. Everything's working in perfect order. And so it's to the point where we have now gone past the university. So a lot of people have gotten off of it now. And then we've gotten through about halfway through downtown. I'm like one of the later downtown stops. So I'm getting ready to get off. But this old lady with a suitcase, an umbrella, and an attitude gets on. And I don't know why she wanted that seat, but she decided she needed that seat that the guy was sleeping on. And she's just like, poking this guy like, get up, you can't be doing that. And I'm like, I don't like that people sleep on the train, but I also think if somebody's to the point where they're sleeping on the train, the last thing they need is someone poking them. So I'm like, I'm about to get off. I'll give up my seat. So I make a big, like, hey, excuse me, I'm off at the snap stop here. You just sit down here, take your luggage. You got plenty of room here. 2 spots, all for you. No one's sleeping in it. You have a great day, ma'am. And she's like, that's not the point. As she sits down angrily in my seat. I'm like, I didn't say it was the point. I'm just trying to be a peacemaker, ma'am. And so then I go and I get ready to get off my stop, and I realize, oh crap, I got 2 more stops to go. So now I either get off 2 stops early and walk a half hour, or I just stand here like a moron. So I chose to stand there like a moron. And then I realized the guy standing across from me had, I don't know, they were some leather gloves with, they're not really knuckle dusters. What are they really called? Brass knuckles, with like brass knuckles sewn in to the gloves. And I'm like, oh, this guy, he's awesome. He thinks he's a street fighter. This guy could probably be my friend. And I go to look up at him, and I realize, wait, this guy's mouth is moving. And I stop my podcast and realize this guy is monologuing. I don't know about what, but he is monologuing on the middle of the bus, or in the middle of the train, just like, are you cutting a promo? What is going on here, sir? And then the doors open, and he just stormed off right past me. And I'm like, I am not the main character in anybody's story today, but I am here for so much. That guy's going off to rescue his girlfriend or punch a bank. Either way, I really wish I had time to follow him.
I'm pretty sure if you had, you would witness a murder.
That would have been cool. Instead, I just went to my job.
Crazy old lady, gotta have a seat, but that seat, and old leather knuckle dusters.
Yeah. It was a 2-for-1 combo. Never a dull moment on public transit. The day after the biggest storm the Pacific Northwest has dealt with in many a moon.
I mean, I think that probably had something to do with it. The weather definitely causes people to act a certain way. And a bomb cyclone. And yes, I will say that because that is an amazingly awesome name.
It is, but it's not a carte blanche to be pissy or crazy on public transit.
I didn't say that.
And yet that's what people thought it was. Everyone's just gonna be grumpy. And weird.
I think you caught the guy. I think he was just rehearsing what he was gonna say when he beat the dude's ass. And he was as soon as like you said, it hit his stop. It's go time.
Yeah, he did look like someone who would ask warriors to come out and play. Yay!
So he had a beer bottle.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't fit over his gloves. He wasn't that guy.
Well.
He was next to him. He would sit next to a guy who would ask warriors to come out and play. Yay!
I like the idea that between these 2 people, we're just building a team of vigilantes. Like you need like 2 more, and then they all get off together. It's like, yes, they're going to stop a crime or start it, and I want to see this.
Oh yeah, okay. This is like the ultimate. So ultimate street justice force. We've got the Karen, we've got the crazy, and we've got the podcaster who's going to like record it all. Who else do we need?
Let's see. I don't know. The kid. The young one.
I thought I was the young one.
Oh, come on.
I'm so young and impressionable, Jason.
You're the podcaster, you're not the young one. You're too old to realize you should not be podcasting anymore.
If you see these characters come together and go off to right the wrongs of society, it is your duty to podcast about that.
So much better than so many other subjects.
Usually duty. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Then You Ruined It. If you enjoy our flavor of nonsense, please like and subscribe wherever you found us. And please share with your friends and cooler family members.